In these next few questions, we'll be simplifying, multiplying, and dividing rational expressions. So really we're going to factor and reduce common factors. These are just the simplifying. There's not multiplying or dividing in here. So we're going to factor the numerator, 9 factors out of those. So we have a 9, and then we have m plus, 5m plus 1, and 45m. And so we have factors here. This 45 we can think of as 9 times 5, and that might help us see that 9 and 9 simplify. We cannot, so let me write what we have left, 5m plus 1 over 5m. We cannot simplify the 5m with the 5m because we can only simplify when there's common factors. 5m is not a factor, it's actually an addend. It's a 5m plus 1 on top. So this is our answer. Next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to factor. We have a trinomial here, so this numerator factors to r plus 4 times r plus 5. The denominator, we want factors of negative 30 that give us negative 1, so this is an r minus 6 and an r plus 5. And so we factored, and now what we want to do is reduce common factors. R plus 5 is a factor that reduces with r plus 5. So those actually simplify to be 1. And then you simply have r plus 4 over r minus 6 as our answer for that one. Moving on to multiplying, it's really a lot like what we just did with simplifying. It's just that we're multiplying here, but when we multiply, we know we multiply numerators and multiply denominators, so we can do the same thing. So when we factor, after we factor, we can reduce common factors in either numerator with common factors in the denominator. So we'll factor, we have a 10, can factor out of here, so we have n plus 7 over n minus 1 times 3n squared over n plus 7. And so n plus 7 here is a factor. It can reduce with n plus 7. And we're left with 10 times 3n squared over n minus 1. Well, 10 times 3n squared is 30n squared over denominator of n minus 1. And that's your answer to that one. Same idea, more multiplying, so we'll factor the numerator. This is an x plus 4 times an x plus 10 over x plus 10, so we see that will simplify, times 3x squared over x plus 4. And so in this case, the x plus 10 cancels with the x plus 10. The x minus 4 or plus 4 cancels with the x plus 4, and we're just left with 3x squared over 1, because this simplifies to 1 when we simplify here and here. So, but we don't write it like that. We write 3x squared. I think this is one last multiplication. We can factor the numerator of the second part. It actually doesn't look like we'll have much reducing we can do. We can factor out a 10v squared out of both of these, 10v squared, and that's left with a v plus 4 over 5. And so we notice the only thing that really reduces here we can reduce a 5 with a 5, and we're left with 10v squared times v plus 4 over v minus 8. And we'll just go ahead and leave that in factored form. If you had this multiplied out, it would have been fine to have 10v cubed plus 40v squared over v minus 10. V minus 8. That would have been an acceptable answer also. Another multiplying, thought we were finished, but we can factor again. B plus 5 times b plus 2, and just looking at this now with this practice, we see that we are going to definitely have some simplifying we can do, and going to be left with a pretty simple answer, because this factor of b, I'm sorry, I put a plus here and it's a times. This factor of b plus 2 cancels with this one. The b plus 5, they simplify, and we're left with a 1 in the numerator over a 1 in the denominator, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. And let's get to dividing. We can factor. So this one we have a 9 is in common, and we have n minus 8 over 8. I'll still write a divided by sign and do this, but as you get better at this, you can do that all in one step. But now we can write this division as multiplying by the reciprocal. So we always want to take the reciprocal of the second one. And we have a lot of simplifying that takes place here. N minus 8 reduces with n minus 8, and 8 reduces with 8, and we're simply left with a 9. And that's our answer. Here's more of the same idea. We're going to factor. And then since we're dividing, I'm going to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to want 3 on the bottom here. And I'll put this in the top, and I'll factor that also. Now this one, you might have noticed something, that the denominators are the same. So in this case is one of the cases where you wouldn't really have to factor, but it's always safer to, or usually safer to, unless you really understand it and understand that that didn't really need to be factored. We have some simplifying that goes on here. We're left with an x minus 10 in the numerator and a 3 in the denominator. And that was simplifying, multiplying, and dividing.